friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing some of my favorite badass women. So if you guys want to see more of my content, hit like, subscribe, and comment, and y'all kind of know what to do from there. But let's just get into it. So as y'all can tell, not my usual setup. I didn't feel like standing. You guys are currently enjoying the sights of my bed. I don't know if this will show up on camera very well, but let's see. I mean, I guess. We'll see how it looks when I finish editing. Yeah, we are on my bed. I haven't made my bed, hence the pillows kind of strewn about everywhere, and the book that I'm currently reading, which I'll probably be finishing tonight, but that's not this video. So a year ago almost, I made a video discussing some of my favorite himbos in like my mangas, my books, and whatnot. And I haven't had a chance to follow that up with a favorite badass women video. Now, this is a very short list. It's not as comprehensive as I would like because my itty bitty brain didn't think that far, and then as I was pulling down the books I was like, why didn't we think that far, Therese? And you know, because I have an itty bitty brain. So I might make a part 2 for this, but if you guys have any ideas for other like themed books such as this, like my favorite badass boys, my favorite bimbo girls, don't know where my bimbos will come from, which is kind of a loss because I feel like bimbos, we need to enjoy bimbos a little bit more. I'm going to start off with one of these channel favorites. If you guys have been following me since like last year, you know whom I am speaking about. That is Anna Lightwood from the Last Hour series. This is the first one. This is Chain of Gold, and this has Cordelia Carsters on it. Now, there are a lot of badass women in this book, and I could name all of them, but that would take up this entire video. So I decided to go with one of my favorites, and that is Anna Lightwood. And the reason why is because I feel like this is set in Edwardian London. So to have a genderqueer character and a character who's also gay, it feels like it's just a very difficult thing to do in such a time, especially in a time where you could be easily killed for it or persecuted or kicked out, as if you aren't like that already. So I think Anna Lightwood is one of my favorite badass characters in general, just because she does have this very, I don't know, I just like the fact that she is this badass, both physically and emotionally and mentally. I feel like she goes through a lot before the series and then during the series, so I feel like she's just one of my favorite badass women, and I just love to look at her. Like, editing trees, can you throw up a picture of Anna Lightwood like right there? Like, she's just so pretty. So pretty. Now, I try to come up with a range of badass women, and I didn't just keep it to the ones who could fight physically, but those who I think kind of stretch what it means to be badass in terms of like non-traditional, like punching and sword kicking and, you know, wearing all black and all that stuff. And one of those girls happens to be Emily from With Fire on High. Now, she's a single mother. This book follows her as she's trying to be a single mother, a high school student, and trying to get into college and kind of realize her dreams while she's kind of struggling all these different names and like places for herself. I really enjoyed reading her story, and while I feel like the plot, like how things were handled in the plot, like how things were resolved, kind of happened a little too quickly for my taste, I really did enjoy the fact that she's such a strong character to be able to go through all these hardships of like being a single mother, being a mother at like 15, having a 2-year-old, trying to get into college, trying to make her dreams work out. And I really like this aspect of her, and I feel like we need to discuss more more opportunities of what it means to be a badass without having to actually involve physical expertise into it. So love this book, love Elizabeth Acevedo, and I love that she kind of went into a world where people don't really talk about teen pregnancies a lot in YA. Another one is going to be a no-brainer for everyone, and that is Evelyn Hugo from The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is an adult history, as we all know who this is. I love Evelyn because she's not only a BIPOC woman dominating golden age Hollywood at a time where BIPOC women did not do that, but she's also a bisexual woman. It's not a spoiler. If y'all think sexuality is a spoiler, I need y'all to find a different channel. But I really loved reading Evelyn's story, and I loved her personality. I think she just has this wonderfully like strong personality for a woman of the time, where I guess people enjoyed more of a softer personality from women. She's another badass woman to me because she's in the book she does quite a lot, not only for feminism but for gay rights, even in her own way. But yeah, love Evelyn Hugo. She's one of my favorite badass women on this list. I want to be Evelyn Hugo. I want to be able to do it, but I do not have that kind of confidence in me at the present time. I'm only 25. The next one is a book that I don't mention a ton on this channel, which is sad because I love this book. I need to finish the series. Lisa, if you're watching this video and hearing this, can we buddy read the third book sometime if you haven't read it yet? And that is going to be Theta from the Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a YA kind of mystery horror thriller. Highly recommend for the spooky season coming up, because also y'all know that I am also hosting a spooky readathon in October. So 1, join, 2, read this book. But I love Theta because she's such a complex character. We see her battle her own demons, primarily through the second book, but they are very much hinted at in the first book, where she has escaped from a very physically abusive relationship, and she's trying to kind of build herself in this world where she has some anonymity with her pen name and can show off her talent and the things that she's always wanted to do, but was never able to do because of this marriage that she has run away from. I also really love her relationship that's starting to blossom and bud in this book. But I love this book so much. I need to finish the series, but honestly I'm kind of afraid. But I need to pick it up before they somehow decide to do a revamp on the covers after the series is done, because I would cry. And really the entire time why I haven't finished the series yet is because I was waiting for paperbacks. Because this is what happens. Do I mind it if they don't match? Not necessarily, but does it bug me in the long run? Yeah. The next badass female is going to have to be a lot of the females from The Farm by Joanne Ramos. Specifically, I'd have to say Jane. I really enjoyed Jane's personality. I feel like her entire thing is her trying to protect her family and make a better life for her family, and as a single mother in I guess not so much a world, but a very expensive time. It's very difficult to be that. So I like that she took whatever opportunity she had to be able to provide for her kids, regardless of how difficult that must have been, and how difficult it is to be away from her baby, considering it's her first baby. Y'all have heard me rave about The Farm, probably one of my favorites of the year. Definitely a favorite of the month when I read it back, I think in May. But I highly recommend it. Lots of strong women and lots of differing ideas of what a strong woman looks like, and how that changes because of the times and the world and how all that stuff. I love Jane in this book. I thought she was a very compelling character, though sometimes she did get on my nerves, but it's okay. I thought she was very compelling in the sense that she just wanted the best for her family, and she was going to do what she could to make sure they got the best things. The next one is actually a newer one for me, and I'm going to have to go with Saphira from We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. This is a YA high fantasy. I finished this book a few weeks ago. Last week. And I cannot stop thinking about this book. I love that Saphira is fighting not only against the gender norms of her little town and what her leader or her mayor wants to place on them, but also she's doing it in a way that helps provide for her family and for her villagers that have been kind of left to the wayside because of this kind of scary looking little magical little glob of magic that kind of sniffs around and eats people. Not eats, makes them go crazy. You get my thing. But I love this so much. I thought it was a great read. It was so lyrical, and I love seeing Saphira grow as a character throughout the entirety of this book. I cannot wait for the second book, but we gotta wait for the paperback. Or I could just buy the hardback. But I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of commitment of not having everything match. Because it does take a mental commitment for me to be able to be yeah, it's not gonna match. The next badass girl on this list is another favorite of mine, another person who is a Filipino author. I'm going to go with Kalia from Where Dreams Ascend by Janelle Angeles. This is a YA high fantasy as well, carnival kind of vibes. Not carnival, or not Carnival, kind of more night circusy almost. I like the fact that once she found out something was wrong with the reality she lived in, she found a way to escape that and find a way to kind of make her own little family in this situation that's not really ideal. I like that she took what she knew about her magic and competed in a competition, no shit, that is primarily dominated by solely men. I really enjoyed the fact that she was so willing to put herself out there and just kind of reinvent herself for the sake of just making herself feel realizing who she wants to be rather than what people wish her to be. I love her so much. I cannot wait for the second book. It's also a debut release of the year, I believe January 2021. So the author has nowhere to go but up from here. The next badass girl on this list should come to no surprise, but however, a lot of women in this duology and this kind of series are also pretty badass, but I'm going to have to go with Inej from Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, another YA high fantasy. We're seeing a theme here. But I love Inej. I love that she is so herself, in the sense that she's not going to compromise on her religion, her values, regardless of the job or the person that she's currently assisting or whatever. I love that she is so down to earth, and I love that she is not defined by her trauma. It is part of her and defines her decisions and how she views the world. But I love how Leigh Bardugo wrote her in a way that she was able to overcome these traumas in her own way, in a sense, and she was allowed to be happy after. I love her. I love Inej. I love Leigh Bardugo's writing of Inej. And the fact that she represents so much for a lot of South Asian girls, as y'all can tell, I am not South Asian. I'm a little more Eastern, but I love that she represents so much for these girls, and I love that Leigh Bardugo is able to create that for them. And I love what she represents in all aspects. One of my favorites. I love her. And finally, the last badass girl. Again, the two women who predominantly that I have read can dominate this and like fit this. But like I said, I wanted to only pick one, because if I picked multiple, I'd end up with a lot longer video. I'm gonna have to go with Helene from An Ember in the Ashes series. She's not on this cover. She's on A Torch Against the Night. But I love Helene. I love her personality. At first, I really didn't like her. But in the second book, we saw a lot more of her personality and became more sympathetic to her as a character. And I love the fact that she is so driven by just protecting her family and loving her family so much, and that she is a loyal person to a fault. I love that about her, and I cannot wait to see what she continues on with Earth Burn the Gates and A Sky Beyond the Storm. Just waiting for those books to come out in paperback, because again, I did not buy the hardbacks. Because I think at the time when they reprinted the first two books, they were only in paperback. They didn't have a hardback, I don't believe. So I happened to get those right as that. But yeah, I love the girls from this series. I love them. But that is it for some of my favorite badass women. Like I said, I'll probably make a part 2 to this. It was very difficult for me to make such a decision because I have so many badass women on my shelves that I just want to talk about. But I did minimize it, and y'all should be proud. But until next time, y'all know what to do. Leave me a comment of whatever your favorite badass women are. And you know, hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Hopefully your week gets better for you if it isn't already going super well. And until next time, bye.